Now, I will just give you a very simple function. We're going to create a simple function, okay? So the way we create a function is use def, meaning define, and say, let's do add two numbers. It's the name of the function, and it takes two parameters, parameter 1, parameter 2, and then it just returns the sum of those. So parameter 1 plus parameter 2, okay? And I've forgotten this symbol, the colon, which you always need when you define a function. Right, now we can just use it. So we do, say, 2 and 2.
Sorry. Can you, first line, talk me through it again?
So we've defined a function. So let's do it even simpler, right? So we can define.
So I know what a string is. What's a function?
So a function, let's take it, let's say, let's start with the kind of mathematical definition, right? Which is just that so let's say you have a function just takes an input and gives an output.
Okay.
So in maths, it would be something like f, the function x, the function f takes in the variable x and say returns 2 times x. Yeah.
Yep.
So if we were to do that in Python, we'd say define, we can call it f, but we don't really want a single letter. So let's just call it function 1. Yeah. And it takes in x. Yeah. And it returns 2 times x.
Got it.
Although returns in Python is return.
Okay.
So now we can try it. In fact, we can try function 1, say 5, and we get 10 back.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay, yeah.
So you can do it as, you can make it as complicated as you want. So I'm just going to take another simple one, just to add 2 numbers. And in fact, that's a bit too simple. So the reason I just wanted to show that was just for some vocabulary, which is that, instead of 2 and 2 here, we would call those arguments. So argument 1 equals, let's say 2, argument 2 equals 3, and then we'd say argument. In fact, what we'd say now is that, so this function wants parameters, right? So it wants a parameter 1 and a parameter 2. And we set those parameters equal to our arguments. You don't need to remember this. It's just if you encounter these terms, you just have an idea of what's happening. Is that
remember which term? Sorry.
Yeah, the term parameter and argument. So the function needs some parameters to work with, right? In fact, if I remember correctly, yeah, the word so the way to remember it is so the p parameter, right? Think of the p as a placeholder, right? So when we define this, these don't have any values associated with them. They're just placeholders. Yep.
Yep.
And think of a here, of a in argument, as the actual values that we supply to the function.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, the reason I'm writing in this kind of convoluted way, I'll show you in 1 second, right? Because if we have a slightly more complicated function, let's have a division function, right? We're going to do a division, define division. So a division, actually, these are mathematical terms. Now, there's a dividend and a divisor. And what you return in division is the quotient, which is the dividend divided by the divisor. Okay? So we can just return that. Yeah.
Okay.
So now if we say do division of 10 and 2, we get 5. Yeah. The reason I did all this kind of stuff is just to show that, when you're beginning to get slightly more complicated, then you want to be careful that you're sending the right argument to the right parameter. Okay. So obviously this is different from 2, 10. Right?
Yeah.
So at this point, it's easy enough just to remember that the thing being divided comes first.
Mm.
But you can imagine that in a more complicated one, it won't be so easy. So then you want to do this.
Yes.
And in that
Okay.
case, it doesn't matter. You can put the order however you want. Because now Python knows what argument you're sending to which parameter.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
I think so.
So again, as the function becomes more complicated, you want to give the user some indication of what it does and how it does it, okay? So you want something called a docstring, documentation, okay? So this documentation just tells you what the parameters are. So there's a dividend, which is an integer, which is a number to divide, the divisor, which is a number to divide by, and what gets returned. So you've just put that into the function, into your function definition.
Oh, I see. I see.
All right. And so that what that allows you to do is then later on you can do help division, and that just prints out that.
Got it. Got it.
And it also helps with I don't know if, yeah, see that. So if you do shift and tab here, and that if you do shift and tab anytime in Jupyter Notebook within these brackets, it gives you this docstring.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
Okay.
true for like other things. So even like when, what would you have? We had station dot upper, right? So if we do shift, yeah, shift and tab, it quickly reminds you what two things that need to go in, what two arguments are needed for these parameters.